I think the proceedings can begin, actually. So thanks very much for coming back in. I know some will carry on coming in from lunch. I don't think we can get the message out into the hall out there, but thank you for being back with us, and we're pretty much on track with time as well. This session, which is plenary session 3, is all about fan engagement. Engagement through media, marketing, data, and sponsorship. And it is my job, first of all, to introduce the chairman for the panel, Greg Nichols, who's the chair of Racing Australia and director of Victoria Racing. Just before Greg takes over, we want to have a go. We're getting brave now, so we've got our app, which I've got somewhere on me here, which is an opportunity for you to put questions to the panel. If you go into the ARC 2020 app, you will find at the bottom 4 different icons, the second one of which says schedule. If you go into schedule, you'll be able to come to the correct day, which is Wednesday, and you should be able to find from Wednesday the correct session, which is fan engagement through media, marketing, data, and sponsorship. Are you with me? Yes? Yes, good, excellent. And it should say there on your screen, it says, submit a question now. So if you just tap in on that, submit your question, and those are going to be collated and moderated. We're being very transparent about how we get this work through, and we can then put those questions to any of the panelists. You might wish it to go directly to one person or another, or a general comment for the panel. But please do get involved. A, because we want to see that this works, and B, we do want a sense of the sort of inquiring minds that you have adding to our panel session. With that, though, let me pass over to Greg to open this particular part of the session. Greg, thank you very much.
Thanks, David. Welcome, everyone, and also my appreciation to the organising committee. Last night was a fabulous night. I've attended quite a number of these, and that certainly was the gold medal in terms of demonstrating the wonderful rhythm and just the vibrancy of South Africa, so thank you. There's a quote attributable to Andy Warhol, mid-60s, that in the future everyone would be world famous for 15 minutes. Someone neglected to inform the ARF, as I've been constrained to 5. So they obviously don't think I'm going to be world famous at the conclusion of my contribution to it all. We're privileged to listen and learn from 4 exceptional individuals in this panel. They are an eclectic bunch who will challenge and inspire you to innovate, to ride the crest of the technology wave, to appreciate the dominant value and expectations of contemporary society, all culminating in an inextricable and intimate bond between thoroughbred racing and our ever-diverse and expansive band of racing devotees. However, before I introduce the inspirers and challengers, indulge me a little as I describe a skeleton assessment of the obstacles and opportunities confronting racing from an Australian perspective. As is probably the case in any jurisdiction around here, 95% in 2000, 95% of our wagering was on racing, 5% was on sports. Changed. Core customer, fortuitously, I was part of that core customer group in the year 2000. Unfortunately, no longer a resident of that demographic. Newspapers, transistors, you name it. That was the world that we were confronted with in 2000. 2020, we've broadened our reach. 35 to 54-year-old male, 24 to 34-year-old male. The one obvious omission is there's 50% of the population that are not represented whatsoever, and that's the female population. Not a revelation to anyone, but it's a damning indictment of our sport and our inability to grasp that society consists of male and female. The future customer, I am probably the less tech-savvy person in this room, but the person who put this slide together, I thought it did such a wonderful job that it warranted inclusion. And it talks about encouraging 10 to 13-year-olds, 14 to 18, 24 to 54, always being mindful that wagering or promoting wagering to a young jurisdiction is not a very particularly smart move. So we've got to be very careful and managed in the way that we do attract. And our group, I've got no doubt, will be able to enlighten us all as to how this can pan out and advantage our sport. I think the one stat that struck me is by 2022, this is only Australia, and you've got to remember we're probably 10, 15 years behind the States in this aspect. Arguably we're ahead in most others. But 46% of Australian homes in 2022 will have voice activation. It's a different world when I grew up, where the only alternatives I had were play cricket during the summer, go to the races Saturday and play footy during the winter. Now to the... I won't go through these. As you can see, they'll be part of the mix later on. They're concepts that everyone is acutely aware of that can shape our future. Evolving media landscape, changing demographics, entertainment alternatives, adaptation to contemporary expectations. And I emphasise that for a second time because I truly think that we've got to be representative of what society represents now and into the future. There's a dynamic wagering landscape. People have got less time. The attention span is limited. And we've failed to grasp the core constituency of getting kids to come along to our race meetings. Well, that's a generalisation, but it's one I think that has some resonance. And then, of course, changing media, the most obvious one. Channel 9, which is one of our terrestrial television stations, picked up the Australian Open Tennis, which has just concluded, and the authority called Mumbrella suggests that that deal will be obsolete by the time it runs out. So it'll be obsolete before it actually expires. And then we've talked about all the other forms of social media. So I've exceeded my 5 minutes by 5 minutes, so maybe I'll get 10 minutes of fame. But I'd like to introduce first Ali Vance. Ali's globally admired, and I've stolen something from your website here, Ali, but it'll improve. Not that it's poor in the first place. But is admired as an acclaimed, experienced and versatile sports broadcaster. It tells a story, however, it is incomplete. Ali is renowned for her fabled contribution to CNN's promotion of thoroughbred horse racing, primarily through their premier racing magazine program, Winning Post. But she's more than that. Royal Ascot, Investec Derby, Qatar Goodwood Festival. They all complement Ali's CV. What you may not know about her, which I found intriguing, is that she represented Great Britain in modern pentathlon, which means that she's more qualified to be up here because she's a true equestrian, whereas my equestrian pursuits revolve around trying to find the first winner at Flemington on Saturday. So we're really honoured to have you, Ali, and very fortunate to have someone of your calibre, and I look forward to hearing what you've got to say.